Whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Many of you will be familiar with this famous line, perhaps even from Kelly Clarkson's song, Stronger. This idea of being empowered and growing through adversity is a common narrative in movies, books and films. But is there any truth behind it? My research involves looking at people who've been through adverse and difficult life experiences and trying to understand whether and how they might have changed through these experiences. Particularly, I focus on whether there are any upsides, something we call post-traumatic growth. That's psychological growth or transformation as a product of going through difficult or dark times. And that might involve greater appreciation for life, an improved relationship with a family member or a friend, or recognition of new possibilities for our lives. Post-traumatic growth might seem like an unexpected outcome to result from our struggle with difficult or traumatic life experiences. And people can and do experience emotional distress from such experiences. Yet the scientific evidence shows that's not the full story. People often report experiencing post-traumatic growth alongside the emotional distress, and they report post-traumatic growth to a much larger degree than you might expect. For example, a meta-analytic review of 26 research studies with a sample of 10,000 people found that 52% of the sample reported experiencing post-traumatic growth to a moderate or high degree. However, researchers have found that people's reports of post-traumatic growth do not align with how they've changed over time when researchers measure their changes in psychological traits from pre to post-adversity. It seems that individuals perceive post-traumatic growth in their own lives, but as researchers, we're not finding evidence that people's personalities change in line with their perceptions. So what? People think they've changed, and positively, but they haven't. Why should we care? We're not saying we should invalidate people's life experiences, but right now we simply do not have enough evidence to know whether perceiving post-traumatic growth is good for recovery, which makes it worth investigating. As researchers, we need to understand why there's a disconnect between why people think they've changed and how they've changed over time. We need to understand whether this disconnect is due to limitations with our own measurement tools and research designs, or whether this disconnect reflects a reality for most people, that is, that post-traumatic growth is rare. The new National Rehabilitation Centre will allow us to work directly with patients who have experienced trauma and are currently undergoing treatment. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to have access to a facility like this. It will benefit our research and enable us to draw important research conclusions about post-traumatic growth. Working with the National Rehabilitation Centre will allow us to refine our measurement tools to gain answers to understanding how widespread post-traumatic growth is and to understand how experiencing post-traumatic growth impacts the recovery process for individuals restructuring their lives in the wake of life-changing injuries. Thank you. Well, I've just always been fascinated by these questions and human nature in general, and I think the reason that this question speaks to me is because it's looking at human beings and their capacity to be the best version of themselves in conditions that would otherwise be perhaps stacked against them or difficult to do so. So for me, it's just a fascinating question of when we can overcome our situation and our circumstances and really take something from that.